Tissues are structures with discrete structural and functional properties. But you guys probably already know about tissues. They're the level below organs when we talk about organization in a body. So what's the level below tissues? Tissues are made of cells. So today we're also going to be talking about cells because the type of cells that make up a tissue define the tissue as well. So we'll be talking about specialized cells when we talk about tissues. When I go through here, I would... so another definition for tissues is collections of cells and cell products that perform specific limited functions. And there are 4 types. Epithelial, connective, muscle, and neural tissue. We'll start here with epithelial tissue. I would also highlight that one. Epithelial tissue has 3 functions according to this PowerPoint here. They cover exposed surfaces, they line your internal passageways, and they form glands. And right epithelial cells underneath there. We're going to talk about, or have a different slide for each type of cell here. So there's epithelial cells, and they cover and line body organs. And if you're handwriting your notes, I would try to draw some of those. If you're typing, maybe you can insert a picture. Like blood can transport materials and gases, and they can store energy, like adipose tissue. Do you guys remember what adipose is? Fat. So fat is going to be another type of connective tissue. Oops, keep forgetting to record this. Are types of cells in connective tissue. So a lot of the connective tissue, some of them will have fibroblasts in them. I'm going to give you a little bit of background information about this word fibroblasts, get into some, I think the term is etymology. But we're going to see this blast term quite a bit, or a few times this year. Blast means it's a type of cell that's going to make or produce something. And in this case, fibroblasts are going to make fibers. So fibroblasts make fibers. So you can see the blue fibers around the fibroblasts. That's because they're producing those fibers. And those are going to be the fibers that hold together whatever in the connective tissue. And then erythrocyte is a fancy word for what type of cell?
Red blood cell.
Red blood cell. And here's another little bit of etymology for you. The suffix "cyte" means cell. So if you see "cyte" at the end of a word, that means it's a cell. So erythrocyte is a red blood cell. So those are 2 examples of connective tissue cells. Still connective tissue. You have some connective tissue that cells that fight disease. So some cells in connective tissue fight disease, like this one here. This is called a macrophage. This is a type of white blood cell. white blood cells help fight disease. So red blood cells and white blood cells are both connective tissue, or cells in connective tissue. Macrophage is a type of white blood cell. There's like 4 or 6 types of white blood cells. Okay, you also have connective tissue cells that store nutrients. Oops. You also have cells that store nutrients, like this one here. It's a fat cell or an adipocyte.
You just made that word up.
No, I did not. It is called an adipocyte. Adipocyte. A-D-I-P-O-C-Y-T-E. Does that sound right? Adipocyte?
Oh, it is.
Adip. Yeah, as an adipose. Yep. So these adipocytes are just filled with fat or lipids. Another term from biology. I hope you remember lipids. And it has a teeny tiny little nucleus because they're all puffed up and full of lipid. Now we move on to muscle tissue. In muscle tissue, all of muscle tissue is specialized for contraction. So they all contract. And here are, well, 2 of the 3 types of muscle. Well, there's 3 types. You have skeletal muscle, muscles in the heart, and then muscles on the walls of hollow organs. And you'll learn them as skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. So there's 3 types. You find them attached to your bones, in your heart, and the walls of your hollow organs, like the organs that contract, like your stomach has to contract, your intestines have to contract. So that's where you could find smooth muscle in the walls of hollow organs. The cells in muscle tissue are cells that move organs and body parts. Each type of muscle has its own type of cell. So you have skeletal muscle cells, you have cardiac muscle cells, and you have smooth muscle cells. And we'll learn the difference between all of them. So there's 2 examples here. Skeletal muscle cells and smooth muscle cells. And then the last type of tissue, neural tissue, which we said involves nerves. They function to carry electrical signals from one part of the body to another. And what is like the center of the body that is responsible for sending these messages? The nervous system. Very good. Which is really complex, but mainly controlled by the brain. Some messages come straight from the spinal cord, but mostly all of them come from the brain to make all of your organs work. Keep your body running. The cells in neural tissue gather information and control body functions. Now I apologize if some of this seems repetitive. I took 2 different PowerPoints from 2 different books and kind of merged them together into one. So you have the nerve cell. And we will talk about the kind of the anatomy of the nerve cell, the dendrites, the axons,